Like most colleges, RPI has a set of general education requirements that all students need to complete to graduate. Here, we call them the HASS requirements, which stands for Humanities, Arts, and Social Sciences. This video is here to teach you how to understand your HASS requirements for graduation and to give you some tips and tricks for things to consider when you're picking a HASS class this fall. This slide will give you a general overview of all the points of the HASS core. We're going to dig into each of these in the video, but I just wanted to note the restrictions really quick. In terms of transfer credits, you can apply a maximum of 8 credits, which is the equivalent of 2 classes, to your HASS core from AP, IB, or other college credits. Also, of the 5 HASS classes you end up having to take, no more than 3 of these can be 1,000 level classes. With those in mind, let's dig into the requirements. The HASS core requires 20 credits as its most general, broad thing. Within those 20 credits, we have these smaller goals that we need to hit along the way. The first one we're going to talk about is the HASS First Year Inquiry course. These courses are small, fun ways to meet some other students and learn about interesting topics in your first year. These are often used as a launch point for something called your Integrative Pathway, which is an important part of your HASS core. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but for now, just keep in mind that it's going to be important to look at pathways to decide which IHSS you might want to take. Your IHSS class can be taken in either fall or spring of your first year. It's very important that you do this in your first year because these courses are restricted to first year students. We would say that if you have 8 transfer credits coming into your HASS core from sources like we talked about on the last slide, then you will definitely want to focus on taking your IHSS class this fall. If you don't have that transfer credit pressure, then fall or spring will be just fine. To find what options are available for the IHSS courses, there are 2 main methods. One is logging into SIS and using the class search function. Once you're in there, you can search interdisciplinary HNS, and that will bring up all of the HASS courses for the fall. Another option, which will give you a little more information by way of course descriptions, is this link. I'll click on it to show you. Once you pull it up, you can click on any course to get a nice long description of what it'll cover, find out the course number. This is a great way to research which ones might be interesting to you. With that being said, let's jump back to the presentation. Great. So the next requirement we're going to talk about is the communication intensive requirement. One of your 5 HASS classes has to have this designation. This can overlap with any of your other requirements, so if that HASS inquiry class you take is also communication intensive, great, you finish both requirements with one class. It can be completed within your pathway, it can be completed outside of your pathway, doesn't matter, as long as one of your 5 has it. To find out what counts, a really great resource is the SIS class search. If you pull up a department, all the way to the right, you will see an attribute column which tells you if a class is comm intensive. So, as you can see in the screenshot on the page, the classes Research Methods and Statistics 2 and Personality are both communication intensive courses. However, other ones on the list are not, so I would not get a communication intensive credit for cognitive psychology, sports psychology, motivation and performance, and so on. Again, just one of your 5 classes has to have this designation. Then, as promised, let's talk about integrative pathways. These are easily the biggest part of your HASS requirements, and it's important to understand all the things that they can cover. Generally speaking, a pathway is a sequence of 3 classes or 12 credits in a particular subject area. There are over 40 different options, and over 30 of those options can set you up to complete a minor with one additional course beyond the pathway. These pathways are a great way to knock out many of your other HASS requirements, like your first year inquiry class or your communication intensive. When you're picking your fall class, I would recommend starting here. Look at pathways that interest you and try to pick classes within those pathways. To find that information, we're going to click on this link. Once you're here, you can click on the drop-down to see any pathway at RPI. All of them are structured a little bit differently, but this is a pretty common setup. It'll start with a list of a few options to take for your first course. Some will have a required second course, but most do not. And then your remaining class would be from another list. 9 times out of 10, this is where you're going to finish your last HASS requirement, which is the 4,000 level requirement. One course that you take has to be a 4,000 level, and again, this almost is always part of your pathway. Some pathways literally force you to finish this requirement, and in all pathways, this is an option. Now, a lot of students are intimidated at first by the fact that they have to take a 4,000 level class outside of their major, but don't worry. There are a lot of really fun 4,000 level classes, and RPI students will tell you that many of them are not particularly stressful at all. So, what are the main takeaways? What do you need to think about as you're building your fall schedule? We say start by looking at the pathways and write down 1 to 3 options that look interesting to you. These should be your guide when you search for your fall HASS classes. Then, based off of those pathways, really try to dig into the IHSS options. Are there IHSS options for your pathway this fall? Those will be the ones you want to prioritize. However, if none of the IHSS options for your pathway are open this fall, check out other classes in the pathway and see if they might be available to you. After doing this research, make a list of 5 favorite HASS classes for fall. You never want to put all of your eggs in one basket, so pick a couple options that could work for your goals. And while it's good to understand your requirements as a whole, mainly at this point, focus on fall registration. Your advisor can help you figure out the rest later. If you have any other questions, please reach out to your hub advisor. We can always take a look at your credits and your situation and help you figure out what works for you.